Typhoon.
Typhoon. PG Tips.
Lancashire tea.
PG Tips.
Twinings, Earl Grey.
Lancashire tea.
Earl Grey. Twinings. PG Tips.
Oh, that'd be Tetley's tea.
From a drink that was once seen as being only for the older generation, the tea market has now expanded into a huge industry. But why have we all fallen in love with it?
Tea has become, well, it is the national drink. I mean, we all like beverages of other types, but at home it tends to be the main cuppa, if you like. Obviously, coffee was known as the sexy drink probably 5 years ago, and I think tea is becoming that now. It's actually getting quite a good name for itself.
I think the thing that people enjoy about having a cup of tea is it's very English. It reminds you of being at home. In here is our regular everyday tea that we use, which is Clipper tea, but Twinings is also very popular. I think it's important to ensure that the tea is ethically sourced. By ethically sourced tea, it means that the people that have made your tea and the people that have gone through all the processes are being paid the right amount for doing so. They're not having like bad working conditions.
So has the desire to be ethical in our approach affected the tea market in general?
The market remains stable at around £565 million, but it's changed a little bit. If you think about Lancashire Tea as a brand, it's up against some big boys, which is PG Tips, Tetley are the two biggest brands, and those two brands alone, they actually control 50% of the market in the UK. The dream would be to grow Lancashire Tea into a national brand. We've started with Booths Supermarkets, which was a local supermarket which took on local produce. Then we took on Morrison's, and now we're in Asda, Tesco, Home & Bargain, B&M Bargain, Heron Food.
With over 3,000 varieties of tea available these days, do we still just drink tea for pleasure? Or are there more benefits to it than just keeping us warm?
Because it gives me the... because it warms you up.
It's a comfort type of thing. It's just something I always do. Whether I want it or not, I just drink tea.
Quenches my thirst, and I enjoy it.
It's nice and it warms you up.
Because it warms me up and it's tasty.
Probably because of the caffeine.
There's a few positive effects of drinking tea. The first one, for some of the patients that we see, it's a good way of actually getting a decent fluid intake in. Sometimes we do advise people to drink cups of tea. For example, if we've got people who are underweight and we're trying to encourage them to eat more, we often have the habit of having a cup of tea with something to eat. So we may encourage certain groups of the population to have a cup of tea and a biscuit to increase their calorie content. We also might advise certain patients with certain conditions like irritable bowel syndrome. We might encourage them to drink something like peppermint tea to help with their digestive problems. So yeah, sometimes we do advise people to have tea.
As well as being beneficial for our health, tea also has a range of unexpected uses. Just a few of these include changing hairstyles, seeing the future, and providing us with tasty treats.
We use Earl Grey tea in some of our cupcakes. I think it is a popular choice to use Earl Grey tea in cakes because it brings out different flavours and it works well with the cake.
The benefits of using tea to dye hair is that it adds just a little bit of colour, like a gloss all over, and puts a lot of shine into it. The process of using tea to dye hair is that you get a big pot, you boil the kettle with boiling water, you put 3 tea bags in, get your tint brush and your tint bowl, and you mix it round. You apply it with the tint brush from root to tip with really thin sections.
The tea leaf reading started in China in the 16th century before we received tea leaves into the country. A lot of people can read their own tea leaves. That's where mediums started many years ago. So you drink your tea, swirl it round 3 times, and the easiest way to read them is they start to form little shapes. And those shapes can mean things like maybe a little mountain, or things can look like a football, but they'll all have meanings to them. For example, if you see a shape at the bottom of the cup, then that's to do with the direction that you're going in, whereas if you see a shape near the handle of a cup, that means something else.